The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Welcome back to Cherry Picking, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Of course, it wouldn't be cherry picking without my main man next to me, Mr. Matthew Harrison. How are you doing, Matt?
Yeah, all good, Craig. After a good Christmas, New Year, and it's back to reality now. Decorations down and back to normality. So, but at least there's still the football.
Exactly, and hopefully everybody's had a happy New Year and a really good Christmas. You had a very relaxed Christmas yourself, or?
Yeah, it's been fairly relaxed.
Good.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, fair enough. I contracted the cold, as you can hear. That's why I sound a bit like Barry Manilow. I can't sing like him.
Barry Manilow? You sound
Barry
like Barry Manilow. What, with a cough?
Deep.
Is he
Or
deep? Is he deep? Is he?
Or who else would you say is deep singer?
I would probably describe you as Barry Manilow, but then again, I wouldn't describe you as Barry Manilow at the best of times. But
yeah, fair enough. Al Green, a bit of Marvin Gaye, maybe, you know.
Maybe just a pinch of James Corden.
James
Corden.
It's... Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, Ricky Gervais. Yeah. I tell you what, before it gets too mad, here's a bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. To find out what they can do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. They can sort your teeth out. Can they sort out sore throats? I don't think so, but you know, they'll be able to sort out your gnashers. But I tell you what, let's get stuck straight into this. We're not going to give you a bit of a rundown because, of course, we've had a couple of games in between this period, and it's been a busy period. But let's start off with Guess the Cherry. let's bring this up. Matt, I'll leave it over to you and just give my beautiful vocal cords a rest for a moment.
That's fine. So, this week's guest, the Cherry, was born in 1962 in Carlston. Carlston? How do you see it? What's that say?
Oh dear! Have you ever seen that video where the guy can't pronounce a certain place?
Yeah. I sounded like him.
Wolverhampton Wanderers or can't say it at all. It's
Anyway,
Karlshoughton.
thank you very much. Carlshoughton. Thank you very
Karlshoughton.
much.
Sounds
Yeah.
very posh, doesn't
So
it? When you
born
hear it?
in 1962 in Karlshoughton. He was an original member of the Crazy Gang at Wimbledon. Had a loan spell at Aldershot before representing Watford and Sheffield United. Made captain at AFC Bournemouth by Tony Pulis. He played 194 times, scoring 8 goals. And he also ran a pub and was once player manager at Dorchester Town. So who is he?
There we are. Answers on a postcard or in the comment section. And you never know, you might be right. Don't check the comment section if you haven't predicted it so far. That's just cheating, and we'll know and we'll guess and we can watch you. It's like Big Brother. No, can't really. So I tell you what, let's get stuck into the first of the 3 games. Of course, the 4th game is coming this weekend against Everton, and we've got the preview as well up on the show already with Toffee Blue, Cast and Dan. But let's go into the Manchester United game, because that was a good one, wasn't it, Matt?
Well, yeah. Obviously, wasn't expecting the back-to-back 3-0 wins at Old Trafford, were we? But again, great place to go and great place to get a win. So, definitely stunned Old Trafford, should we say?
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass it over to Barry White.
I'll tell you who you sound like, actually.
Go on.
I'll tell you who you sound like then. You sounded like, he used to present the old grey whistle test. Whistling Bob Harris.
Bob Harris. It's a good job you didn't say Rolf there.
Now, this guy's called Bob. Bob Harris. That's who you sound like with your sore throat.
Bob Harris. I'm quite pleased I sound like Bob and not Rolf Harris. We shan't go there.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
So Dean Howson silenced the home crowd by heading home Ryan Christie's free kick, his 29th minute opener, exposing United's set piece frailties. I can't say that bloody word now. Oh dear, the joys of having a cold. I always said, don't get ill very often, and then this hit me. Chances were hard to come by in the opening stages as Ahmed tamely fired straight at Kepa Arrizabalaga, while Semenyo tested Andre Onana's handling from range at the other end. United were unhappy that Terrell Malakales, I think that's how you say it, isn't it? Lunge.
You're asking me?
Yeah. Shall we just call him Terrell? Lunge on Adam Smith was deemed a foul, and home frustration heightened when United conceded from this. Bruno Fernandes went close 3 times to levelling before the break, twice pulling narrowly wide either side of forcing a smart stop from Kepa after Kobe Mainoo's offload. Nasser Masori's ill-timed sliding challenge allowed Bournemouth to extend their lead, with, of course, that man, Justin Kluivert, converting down the middle after winning the penalty just past the hour. Semenyo followed that up by sweeping beyond Onana from Dango Ouattara's low pullback before Lenny Yoro somehow failed to score from close range, as disappointed United supporters were already heading for the exit. And Iraola's free-flowing attack will have Bournemouth supporters dreaming of European qualification heading into the festive period. And the stats did make very interesting reading. Of course, with this victory, we went up to the dizzy heights of 5th in the Premier League, which, to be honest, 7th, where we are at the moment, is incredible, isn't it, Matt? But, 5th. What did you make of this Manchester United game? Because I just think we was in complete control. Yeah, there's concern. You have, if I was a Man United supporter, I'd be very, very concerned about my own team. But I tell you what, we were dominant. And I think, based on how we played against United, we would have, I think we would have beaten Man City considering how they've been playing. And of course, we beat them earlier on in the season anyway. Arsenal, I think, it was a complete performance, really, this.
I mean, I think it also reflection of, you just mentioned City there. Obviously, United beat City the week before.
They did, yeah.
And I did catch the second half of that game, I think, or did I see the highlights of it? One of the two. And neither side looked really good in that game. United, from their perspective, is 23 shots. You go back, when United were at their prime, and they definitely would have had more shots on target than the 7 that they did get. But yeah, it's, for me, at the times that we needed to be clinical, we were. And, I know the penalty helped us as well. But, I mean, even without that penalty, we still would have come away with a win that day.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I mean, the last game, obviously, Dom Solanke, Phil Billing, Marcus Nesse, they were amongst the scorers. But it's actually the first time in United's Premier League history that they've lost successive home games against the same team with a 3+ goal margin.
Yeah.
So, and that's only the second time in their entire history.
It's incredible, really.
It is incredible. But I mean, in terms of the game itself, out of the festive period, I mean, from the last cherry picking, I think, if I remember rightly, the 2 games that concerned me more out of the 4 that we were looking at was the Crystal Palace and definitely the Fulham one.
Yeah.
I had a good feeling we would get something at Old Trafford, but to successfully go up there and beat them 3-0, again, it was very, very pleasing. I mean, you look at the stats. I mean, we only had 1 corner in the game. I mean, we were very, very, attacking, high pressing as normal.
Yeah.
But, credit to them, real credit. Yeah, I was just blown away by it, to be quite honest. I kind of
more
draw at the beginning of the day because I thought, a draw away from home. But as soon as that game started, to be honest, even though they had the more possession, they didn't pass the ball round as well as Bournemouth.
No.
I know they made more passes and things like that, but our 337 passes against their 492. We were more creative with our passing than what they were with theirs, to be honest. Yeah, it's another great win. I mean, it's good. This, when you look back at this season, I know we're going into the second half of the season now, but when we look back on this season, we've got some memorable wins already. So, and this is obviously just added to those, City, Arsenal, so on, wins this season. So, yeah, very pleasing result. And it was great, like you say, to go into Christmas at the dizzy height of 5th. And the fans were all chanting and, singing Europe and, so overall a great day just before Christmas.
Yeah, most definitely. So, yeah, it was a remarkable day. Sorry, I did guess the cherry again there for a moment, but I don't know if anybody saw that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not revealed the answer, is it? So
no, it's not revealed the answer, but yeah, some good stats and a great day. Could have been more as well. Very, very impressive result. Let's talk about the Palace game. And let's bring that up now. So, of course, no knockout Boxing Day. And
bit disappointing the Boxing Day.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. So I tell you what, I'm going to pass this one over to Johnny Cash to tell everybody about, how this game went. So here we go. Over to Johnny Cash. I can see Matt's just laughing and thinking, you sound nothing like Johnny Cash either.
Mm. Yeah,
That says it all. Mm.
take it away, Johnny.
So Philip Mateta and Dango Watara both shot narrowly wide in the opening 20 minutes, while Ismail Assar made an important clearance from Antoine Semenyo inside the 6-yard box. Sarr thought he had put Palace ahead at the other end when he calmly raced away from the defence and tucked home, only to be denied by the offside flag. Both sides went close early in the second half. Erebeshi Eze tested Kepa Azabalaga from distance, and moments later, Enis Unal could not quite divert Justin Kluivert's shot before beyond Dean Henderson. Sorry, Johnny. Clear chances did not fall too freely in the second half, though Bournemouth looked to be the more likely to snatch all 3 points. Substitutes Evan Nielsen and Philip Billing dragged shots agonisingly wide, while Semenyo's header also flashed the wrong side of a post as the two teams settled for a point apiece. Bournemouth boss Iraola said, "We have to value a point, but it's true that we wanted more. We knew the game was going to be quite level, but it's a team that's very good in possession. They keep you at a low pace because it's difficult to press them because they are very good technically on the ball. We couldn't make the difference in the last third." I think that makes sense. And Bournemouth's tally of 29 points after 18 games is their best ever top flight return at this stage of the campaign, while their 27 goals is joint high and their 21 goals conceded an outright top flight best for the Cherries at this point in the season. And I'll say on this game, to be honest, we were wasteful. It could have been so much more. We had so many opportunities, which we could have converted. But there is a point here, Matt. We had to rotate in these games because I'm sure we'll come on to it after the Fulham game because looking at our bench, but there is a bit of fatigue in the ranks now, isn't there? Where the players have been playing a lot of football. We've got the injuries building up. And this was the game that I earmarked and said that we would swap things around. And lo and behold, that's what Iraola did.
Yeah. I mean, this time of year, we all know as football fans, and no matter what club you're at, it's full of fixtures and injuries and fatigue, like you say. It all does play a part. So, for the Palace game, I wasn't surprised to see start up front. In fairness to the guy, he probably deserves a start anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even Ilson, we don't want to, knacker him out because obviously, as we know from the Fulham game, how important he can be, and from other games this season. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised at that. Obviously, we now lost Smithy to a long-term injury.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see Max Aarons get a run out.
Mm.
So yeah, you can, like you say, with what the bench has been like. I mean, we have had a few of the youngsters on the bench, well, quite well. I think. I mean, even going back to the Wolves game, I think we had the youngster that
Yeah.
made his
Kinsey
debut.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Winston,
we've and players like him and Kinsey and that since around that time and possibly slightly before anyway. So yeah, it is very key that we obviously rotate the squad. Obviously we know where we've got our key injuries. So but yeah, I mean, out of the 80, was it 18 attempts for on
Yes,
target?
it was. Yeah.
And I believe that actually, Bournemouth actually on that day registered a 1.19 expected goal ratio, according to Optima Sport.
Yeah.
And obviously, we didn't hit the net. But I mean, I thought Kirkes again had another great game. I thought he was instrumental on that side, defending and in terms of his, getting forward. He was very key in our attacking efforts against Palace. Semenyo, unlucky, two decent efforts. The header was really good, just went slightly wide of the post. It was, sat there watching it, and I knew it wasn't going to be our day. Unfortunately, I think it just felt like one of those games where it wasn't going to go in the old net, and shame. But again, it's another point on the board. It might be a game that we look back at the end of the season and think, that's where we could have really done with those 3 points that day, depending on where we end up. If we were to unfortunately miss a European place by a few points, this might be one of the games that we look back on. Well, will be one of the games that we look back on and think, well, if we'd got the 3 points there, it might have got us across the line. But just one of those games where, we weren't clinical. Obviously, Dango, missed a decent chance as well. And it's just one of those games where unfortunately we were creating chances, but just weren't going to ever go in the bag.
I wouldn't blame it down to that one game, because, well, we'll always look back at it.
No, you can't blame it on one game. But when you look back on a season, no matter where you finish, you can always go back through and pick out those games. Well, we should have had 3 points there.
Yeah,
and that will be one of those games. Not saying the only game, but that would be one of the games that people will probably look back on and think, like there are games already from this season where we should have had, 3 points. So that's just it's just going to be one of those, I think.
I think the Leicester-Chelsea games jump out more, and of course Newcastle at home, which wasn't really our fault, but more ones that jump out to me than this, because I think there's a lot of leggy players out in the squad at the moment, and that's my main concern going into this weekend. But it didn't look like that really against Fulham, did it? Who, of course, we're going to touch on now, and the Fulham game. So Dango's cheeky chip, or I should say Dongo's cheeky chip, sealed the point at the Cottage. And remember, this is a Fulham team that have beaten Chelsea. They've got some fantastic results this season.
I mean, this is the most worrying one for me. I thought we were going to get a defeat on this run of games, and I think this is where it would have come.
Yes,
because like you say, they've had some excellent results recently, haven't they, Fulham? And when you looked at our bench, and we saw that Hill come in at right back, and we know he's played right back before. But to start a Premier League game at right back, and I thought he put in a good performance, to be fair, so give him some credit there. I still, makes you wonder what the Max Aaron situation is, or whether he's just trying to, make sure Adams is fit. Not Adams, sorry. We say that so many times, Adams being fit. Max being fit, for up and coming games, and just wanted to make sure he's rotating the squad. But then when you looked at the bench, you're thinking, where's the options on the bench? You go back maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, and we had options. Our bench was really strong for options, whereas we did have quite a lot of the youngsters on there, didn't we?
We did,
But again, I'll let you take over and run through the game, and we'll have a little say on the game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll tell you what, to keep up with, the theme on this one. So, of course, we've had Barry Manilow, we've had Johnny Cash. Billy Ocean is going to talk you through this draw against Fulham.
Billy Ocean? Are you just plucking these names out of the air?
He's got a deep voice.
Has he?
He's got a deep voice.
Away, then,
Billy Ocean. Billy Ocean,
take it away.
The Caribbean Queen.
Oh, I know his songs, but you carry on, Billy.
I probably don't sound anything like Billy Ocean.
Knock yourself out.
everybody's probably just pouring into tears of laughter. And yeah, if you think I sound like somebody else, put it in the comments. That would be quite funny. So just read those. So Bournemouth created the best. No, that's I'm not even going to do an accent. Bournemouth created the better opportunities during the first half. David Brooks's fierce volley was held by Leno, who also thwarted Anton Semenyo. The Cherries thought that they had taken the lead when James Hill headed in from a corner, only to be denied for a push on Calvin Bassey. That let-off proved crucial as Fulham struck again to run a play 5 minutes before the break, with Jimenez powering the home a header from Andres Pereira's corner. Nevertheless, the visitors levelled within 6 minutes of the restart. Evan Nielsen latching onto Hill's long ball in behind the Fulham defence before volleying past Leno from a tight angle. What a bloody cross that was as well. Well done,
Yeah.
James Hill.
Yeah.
Both sides went.
Pinpoint.
Oh, mate,
Pinpoint.
it was outstanding. I just want to touch on that because, of course, we've interviewed his agent on here before, Cecil G. Thomas, lovely man, of course, part of Arsenal Fan TV, and I can imagine how proud he was of that. It was just brilliant, brilliant. And again, there's now arguments that, can you really take James Hill out of the team after this performance? I don't think you can, to be perfectly honest. I thought he was excellent, but I'll carry on and then we'll discuss a little bit more at the end. So both sides went in search of the match's third goal. Kepa Azpilicueta thwarted Jimenez's header and Leno denied Philip Billing before Fulham restored their advantage in the 72nd minute with Harry Wilson. Of course, it was always bloody going to be him, powering home a header from Anthony Robinson's cross. And then, of course, that man again. Bournemouth rescued themselves in the dying moments of regulation time as the ball broke kindly for Ouattara, who calmly lifted over Leno with the goal awarded following a VAR review to check a potential foul in the build-up. Now, this goal, do you know what I said as soon as this went in? I said that he had learned on what had happened against West Ham. You know, where he just shot at Fabianski and, maybe should have lifted it. There's one thing with Dango Ouattara, and that's that he does learn from his mistakes, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I just think sometimes, it's instinct, isn't it? And, this time he got his instinct spot on. And, I just think the whole build up to it, which we'll touch on a little bit shortly, but the whole build up to it with the high press and causing Fulham to, lose the ball, it all sort of contributed to it, and just the finish was just, I think, exquisite. I just thought it was a beautiful chip. And you're probably right. There's probably times before where he has made the wrong decision, but he's not the only footballer that's done that, and he won't be the last one. So, I mean, I just think that at times, you're probably right. He's probably made the wrong decisions, but he always seems to make the right decision when it's needed. And that's why I just class him personally. I just class him as the super sub.
Oh yeah.
I know we've said it before, and we've said he's Bournemouth's secret weapon, and he's gone and proven it again. That when it counts, he's there. And he's done it again. I mean, like I say, he started a few of the games over the festive period, and for me. From his perspective, he wants to start games. Any footballer wants to start games, but I just think he gives us that little bit extra when he comes off the bench. I just think, I think he's very, very different to our other wide players.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you introduce him in the sort of 65th minute, people don't really know what they're going to get with him, and that's why I think he's been so influential from the bench this season, and that's why I still say, in my personal opinion, he is still Bournemouth's secret weapon.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think he comes under a lot of unfair criticism from some of our fan base because, he did.
Yeah, I can understand it. I'll let you carry on, but yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah, I think he's one of these players that 9 times out of 10 you're thinking, what the hell is he trying to do? And then he pulls something, spectacular off and something that makes a real difference. I don't think he's the best passer of the ball. I don't think, his long crosses are particularly very good. But what he has got is he's got that instinctive nature. And I never see him not play with a smile on his face. And I really like
Yeah,
him. I really do like him as a person, as well as a player.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think from my point of view, if I was the gaffer, he would be coming off the bench and
Yeah.
being my man to change the games. But yeah, I mean, even some of his performances, when he's been starting lately, I think he's been superb. But
Mm.
like I say, I just love the impact he seems to make when he comes on.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely, mate. Well, I tell you what, let's also touch upon a debut for young Ben Winterburn. And yeah, again, great to see another youngster getting some minutes, you know, in the first team. I think when you look at the bench, and of course, we've mentioned it a moment ago with the Crystal Palace game, but when you looked at the bench, there's a lot of youngsters, and the main reason being because of the amount of injuries we got. I think there's players fatigued. I think Semenyo maybe needs a little bit of a rest, himself. I think he's playing with a little bit of a knock, but I think, these youngsters are stepping up to the plate when it matters. And there was another real harsh criticism from, somebody I saw on the wonderful place of X saying that what a poor bench we had. I don't see it like that. I think that this is great that we've got youngsters breaking in to what is the first team, and it'll only get better once we get this academy up and running, at Camford Magna, when we're investing, 2.5 million that it costs to actually, set up an academy, and that's per season, which we'll make back because of player sales, that maybe players that are good enough to play in the championship or elsewhere, but maybe not good enough to play here at Bournemouth. But it's an exciting time that we're even seeing these youngsters coming through now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great to see. I mean, I'm with the youngsters. I'm used to obviously remembering going back. When players were thrusted in because of injuries, and
Yeah.
like players like Brett Pittman, Sam Vokes being two that stand out.
Mm.
Danny Ings. Throughout the years, we've had to go to the youngsters and bring them on. And, I mean, I remember Vokes' debut, I think, was against Nottingham Forest on a Tuesday night, and he started the game.
Yeah.
Straight from the youth side. So yeah, it's great to see that we're still developing decent footballers, and like you say, whether they have a long-term future with Bournemouth or whether they go and build a career elsewhere, it's great for the academy and great for the academy's development. So yeah, it's fantastic to see another youngster come off the bench. And not only that, I mean, he played an important part of the goal as well in terms of, DANGO'S equaliser. He was helping the high press against the Fulham defence, and which obviously made them give the ball away, and we went from there. So yeah, he had a bit of a part to play in the goal as well. So yeah, excellent debut. I know it was only for 8 minutes, but I mean, wow, he's done. He's lived every boy's dream of playing in the Premier League, whether it's the only 8 minutes he ever plays or whether he plays more for Bournemouth. He's still fulfilled that dream. So yeah, congratulations to the guy, and I hope he hope he has a decent career.
Well, hopefully it's the first of many appearances for the club, and it might be a case that we might have to wait his turn again. He might get a turn against Everton. You never know.
Well, you never know. You never know. I mean, we'll touch on Everton, like we say, towards the end, and I'll
Yeah,
go through some of the injuries and stuff, and who knows. But I mean, he did also have a little bit in the echo. Would you like me to take this, Craig, and let you?
yeah.
Rest?
Let Billy Ocean's voice,
Let,
calm.
Let Billy have a rest. But
Let Billy have a
and
rest.
let's hope there's no tricky pronunciations for myself. But yeah, so in the echo, he did say that he can't put into words how I feel. It's a dream come true, something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. So a really proud moment, Winterburn said. The youngster said being in and around the squad has helped prepare him for his debut. As you train, you get up to standard. You have to, in a way. So I feel it definitely prepared me. The lads were brilliant in welcoming me, so it felt comfortable coming onto the pitch. Nerves, but it felt really good. On what was going through his head as he was preparing to come on, he said, not loads really. I think I felt really nervous, but I also thought I've got to enjoy it because this happens once, and after that, no one can take it away from me. So I thought, enjoy it and work hard. Speaking on his impact at Craven Cottage, boss Iraola praised Winterburn's contributions late on in the game as the Cherries equalised 7 minutes after he entered the fray. The help from Ben from the academy, I think he was amazing in the press of the second goal with his energy, Iraola said. Very good news for him, I suppose, personally, but also for us and the teammates that were here on the bench with him. They were all happy. So, yeah, of course, he did have his teammates there as well, didn't he? So I'm sure they were all thrilled for him to see him, not just go up there and make the numbers up, but actually, get some minutes. And then obviously, like Iraola said, help to contribute to the all important equaliser.
Yeah, definitely. That was beautifully read, by the way, Matt.
Was it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You got the voice of an angel, so to speak.
Smashing.
Whereas I've got the voice of, well, I don't know, Bob
We've
Harris,
had Bob Harris,
Johnny
Barry
Cash, Barry Manilow, Billy Ocean. Yeah, don't worry, none of them have been on this podcast. But yeah, if you're looking for them, you might need to look a little bit further. But yeah, it was a good point actually at Fulham, considering I thought it was a good performance. Against a very, very tough team. Lots of teams have been there and been beaten. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can take that on into this game against Everton. Before we mention Everton, shall we touch upon Iraola being nominated for Manager of the Month?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so the contenders, he's been named as one of the contenders, and he's got some stiff competition.
Yeah,
actually contenders for December. So Iraola obviously unbeaten in 7.
Yeah.
Slot had a great result against West Ham, and I think he's can't remember how many wins and draws he's had for December, but obviously they're top of the league. They're flying at the minute. Nuno, I mean,
wow.
I mean, I know everyone's singing Iraola's praises, and rightly so. I mean, I tipped Forest for relegation. I mean, but what do I know? He's done an absolute fantastic job at Forest. And, I read an article this week where they were comparing Forest to the year Leicester won it.
Yeah.
And, with the few of the bigger sides struggling and things like that. But unfortunately for them, they haven't got Tottenham top of the league to let them in. Sort of second from what was it? Second from last game of the season or whenever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? But I think it's a big feat that that they would be a contender to win it. But I mean, fair play to them being second. What can you say? Hats off to the guy. And when you look at it as well, I mean, they haven't got any real superstars, have they?
No.
Look at Chris Wood. I mean, Chris Wood was the kind of player that, played for your Burnleys, and, Newcastle signed him for a purpose to get them out the rut. And he scored how many goals this season?
Oh, he scored a ridiculous amount, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he's the top scorer, isn't he?
Is he top scorer?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're probably right.
I
Do you
think
know what? I've
he
got
is.
14 in my mind. I don't know why I've got 14.
Yeah, he's
But
had a miraculous season, really. For
yeah,
Nottingham
absolutely,
Forest.
absolutely, and Newcastle. I mean, obviously, there's the Messiah there.
Yeah.
He's starting to pick up some really decent results, and I watched him play Man United. Was it
Hmm.
Monday night or
Yeah.
Sunday or whenever?
Yeah. Newcastle are looking good.
Yeah. Oh no, I saw the highlights. Sorry,
Yeah.
and yeah, they were looking really good, and he's starting to get the results now, and fair
Mhm.
play to Howe.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried about him sort of at the start of the season when they weren't quite picking up results, and the press were turning on him a little bit, and it's a big expectation up there, and
Yeah.
I just hope he has a good season. And then our man Iraola,
Yes.
I mean, what he's doing at Bournemouth is, like Nuno, is a phenomenal job. So, it's a real tough one this month.
It is. Yeah.
I think, I hope Iraola gets it, but I think maybe those couple of draws might go against him.
I
Um,
I'd love to see him get it, but I got to agree. I think when you look at Nuno and what he's done at Forest, nobody expected them. I expected them to go down this season. I thought that they were quite lucky last season to stay up. Really, um, Chris Wood, by the way, isn't the top scorer. It's actually Mo Salah. Mo Salah
oh,
scored
Chris Wood,
6
yeah.
goals. Yeah, 6
How many?
goals
How
more.
many? How many is Chris Wood on?
Chris Wood is on 11.
11.
Same as Brian Mbembo, which
Ah,
surprised me to be honest. But Haaland's on 14, Isaac and Cole Palmer on 12. I thought Chris Wood had scored a couple more, to be honest, because I thought you always keep hearing about him at the moment. But yeah, I'd love to see Iraola win, Manager of the Month. But I think Nuno will probably get it. I think Slot, everybody expects Liverpool to be there for the long run. Um, and I think they'll probably win the league. I can't see them not winning the league, considering everybody else around them is blowing up a little bit. But for Forest to be where they are is incredible. We've said this before, haven't we? We said that they'll slip down, the table, but they never have. And if they got the stay-in distance to stay in that top 6, top 7 teams, it's going to be a huge ask. But then again, it would be a huge ask for us to stay in there as well. So, considering the resources and the amount of money that other teams have got, so yeah, full credit to them. Full credit to
yeah,
them.
no, yeah, no, you're spot on. It's yeah, it's fantastic that and a club that's obviously the history of Forest. We all
Yeah,
know the history of Forest and under Cloughie, and European Cup back to back, and what they won under Cloughie. But in terms of their sort of like last 20-25 years, the majority of it was spent in the likes of League One. So
yeah,
fair play to them to see a club that's only recently. It's only same year we got promoted, wasn't it? So, sort of
mm,
3 seasons. Well, not even 3 seasons in, is it?
no,
So to be up there, similar to us, and the likes of Fulham, it's credit for clubs that have come up from the Championship to be in and amongst the European places.
well, definitely. Well, I tell you what, let's do guess the cherry and conclude that, and we'll tell you who it is, and then we do have some shows coming up as well, which we'll tell you about. So I'll just run through it quickly. So born in 1962 in Karlshoughton, I'm sure that's how you say it. Was an original member of the Crazy Gang at Wimbledon. Had a loan spell at Aldershot before representing Watford and Sheffield United. Made captain at AFC Bournemouth by Tony Pulis, played 194 times, scoring 8 goals, and he ran a pub once and was once player manager at Dorchester Town.
Yeah.
Who is he, Matthew?
Well, he is actually a little story with this one before we reveal him, but he was actually my first hero. He was the first Bournemouth player I had on my bedroom wall, and it is Mark Morris.
Yes, of course, and of course, I'm wearing that top, that very top. All right, it's not the original one; it is one of these terrace ones, but I think he's quite a faithful representation, really, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it definitely is. It's
Yeah,
definitely is a faithful one. But yeah,
yeah,
there's some classic kits there. Obviously, the Pizza Hut tablecloth kit and
yes,
the shirt that he's got on in the middle there, the middle picture. That was my very, very first Cherry shirt I had as a kid. And yeah, great memories of Mark Morris. And
mhm,
yeah, always was one of those players that always put his body on the line.
yeah.
I remember, I think it was it under Machin? Or was it the Great Escape? Yeah, that was under Machin. Was it the Great Escape season? All I remember was him defending this ball,
Yeah.
gone into head to clear the ball, and he's collided with the goalpost. I
Mm.
think he was actually out injured for a little while with that. I mean, he literally was one of those old-fashioned type defenders that always put his body on.
Warrior, and
But yeah, warrior,
yeah,
yeah, warrior, and always good from a set piece as well, with the old head. And yeah, fond memories of Mark Morris. And like I say, he was my first Cherries hero growing up.
yeah, definitely. Well, of course, we do have some more shows coming up. So, of course, there is the Everton preview that you'll be able to see on the homepage now. So go check that out. But Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's coming up over the coming weeks?
Yeah, so one of the shows coming up is the Up the Cherries in all departments transfer shows. They'll be live. They will be it'll be starting this coming Sunday on the 5th of January. Myself and Ryan from Huddersfield Fan TV will be going through not only just obviously the Cherries news, but all the Huddersfield news. We'll be going through all the news from, well, as much news as we can cover from the transfers in the Premier League, EFL, and beyond. And hopefully we'll be joined by a few guests as well. But yes, so they're going to be starting this Sunday, the 5th of January, 11 a.m. The show will be going out. And then we've got shows at 9 p.m. on the 9th, the 16th. Then we have a Sunday show on the 26th, a Thursday show on the 30th, and then we have our live deadline day show on transfer deadline day. So, yeah, that'll be coming up over the next sort of month.
Awesome, awesome. So do go and check that out. And before we conclude, I'll tell you what, of course, we got Everton tomorrow at Dean Court. A side who, you know, since we beat them, all right, yeah, they had a game against I think it was Aston Villa as well, who they lost against. But since then, they've had 3 defeats, 3 wins, and a whole host full of draws. What do you make of them?
Yeah, well, they've obviously, hit a bit of form, haven't they,
Mm,
recently? And I know they're a bit of a, don't know whether you'd call them a draw specialist, but I know they've had a few
yeah,
draws as well, like you say. Obviously, we're on an equalled game 7 so far, and
mm,
unbeaten. And obviously,
yeah,
tomorrow we could break the record, which would be nice to see. And be great. Obviously, we want the win. I mean, I'm
yeah,
in the back of my mind. I think it's going to be a difficult game, but I've got a funny feeling this could be our first double of the season.
I
I'm
hope
gonna
you're
I'm gonna
right,
go
mate.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win tomorrow. Sticking my neck out, but Everton have never won at Dean Court in the Premier League. But obviously,
Mm,
their fans will be saying, there's got to be a time when we will. So obviously, they're going to be looking at breaking that little record as well. That they obviously an unwanted record that they've never won in the Premier League.
yeah.
But like we've touched on, the youngsters are on the bench. We've got 7 first-team injuries.
Mm,
Marcus Senese, his due date is back possibly in March. Aweru, that's how you pronounce it, isn't it?
Reho.
Aweru. I can never pronounce these names, me.
No.
But February due date. Tyler Adams is said to be possibly fit, but then again, you never know, do you, until you turn
No.
up at the ground. Alex Scott, Lewis Sinistera is ruled out. There's no date on Smithy. And there's no date on Tabs. So it's going to be a tricky one with the injuries, obviously, in terms of the options from the bench and moving players around, and especially with those run of games, when you want to kind of rotate your squad, it has made things a little bit more difficult. But I don't know. I just think with the form, that we've had recently, I know we've had 2 draws previously, but as long as we're if we were to get 18 chances tomorrow and we had lots more on target and we were clinical with it, I think we're quite convincingly beaten.
Yeah.
But I'm going with a 2-1 Bournemouth. But let's see.
Yeah. Well, I have said 1-1, a 1 draw, because they are the draw specialists. I think it's going to be a tough old game, this.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Because they're going to be up for the fight. But, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be our first double of the season. And, Sean Dyche, it's an interesting, because I think, there's a lot of talk that, and I did throw it to Dan, and you'll have to listen to his opinion as well. But there's a lot of thought out there as well that, when Burnley sacked Sean Dyche, that's what really did it for them, because they were so ingrained into playing this ugly football that it needed a big old reset. Are Everton the same? Some people say they are, but there's a lot of Everton fans that feel that they've got a lot better players than Burnley ever had. So it'll be an interesting one. But of course, with their new owners, we shall see what they're going to be. They're going to be up to. I think they'll still be okay, to be honest, though. For Everton.
Yeah, I think they'd be okay, and I think once the transfer of ownership's happened, I think it might be a similar. You never know, it might be a similar situation to Gary O'Neill, where obviously there's no good sacking the manager at the moment. Once they come in, and they might look at it and they might want to go in a different direction to what Sean Dyche wants to go in. So I can't see them coming straight in and removing him. I think that'd be a little bit. That'd be crazy.
Side, though, I can't see them turning round and opening that new stadium with Sean Dyche being the manager.
And then at the same time, I agree with you there. I think if they, it's a very funny thing, and you don't want to go in somewhere and then tear everything up.
Yeah.
Start again, especially when's it set to be completed? I mean, is it any time soon?
It's already complete, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, it's already complete. I think it just needs to be ratified and everything.
So in that case, would you now, as an owner, going in there, you've got a manager that is going to be steady. Yeah. You don't want to go in there, make the wrong managerial decision, and then, because
potentially relegate. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then they will have the greatest stadium in the Championship. And I mean, I've seen some of their stadium stuff today that I think they've.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
They've got some under 18 games penciled in to test the stadium out, and looks phenomenal. And you don't want that in the Championship, do you? So, I think personally they will make a managerial change in the summer. That's what I think.
I completely agree. And to be honest, that new stadium, like you say, is incredible. It probably is going to compete with Spurs in terms of facilities. from what it looks like. So yeah, all the very best to them. But of course, not tomorrow. I think that's all we've got time for. No doubt. We shall be back next week where we'll, discuss some more stuff with regards to Cherries. Thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. And thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.
Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.